Alright, so we're here with the All Bear crew. We're going to do a cast breakdown of the Curse of Strahd.
Yay.
We did the DM review live, and I just wanted to get some takes from these guys and see how they felt about finishing our first long campaign and playing out some characters to the end. We started with Death House. What'd you guys think of that?
What a start.
Death House was my favorite part because it's what I expected. Like, that was the spooky, scary, like, horror I was expecting. Like, haunted houses and things popping out at you and, you know.
Yeah.
So, I liked it.
Traps.
Yeah.
That part was interesting.
I spent like 3 days building a character and I died instantly.
That's true.
Which was probably the best thing that could have happened to me because I thought on paper I'd really like the character, and then I realized like 20 minutes in, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
It was 20 minutes in, you know?
Yeah.
No, I made a mistake.
And I was like, I can make it work, but I wasn't as comfortable as I thought I'd be in that character.
Was it the flexing?
Yes. Because
So
it's like,
it was like a happy accident.
after the first time, it's like, now what?
It's like, shit, I
Don't
did
get me wrong, I was comfortable with it. And then, where do I go?
Uh-oh, yeah.
You were killed by trash.
Yes, I fought trash and I lost.
All thanks to Joe Grizzly.
We got Joe out of it, though, which is definitely a mainstay character.
I got a character out of there that had nothing to do with anything, and he survived the whole time.
Absolutely.
The entire campaign.
Honestly, probably a main character.
Yeah, low key.
Essential to the win, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, Death House start was great.
2 thumbs up. It was really good.
Yeah, and I know you did some fixes to make it a little bit easier. I still thought it was challenging and interesting to go through. I think it was one of our only, like, almost dungeon-esque experiences through the whole thing, too.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was. So, yeah, I thought it was, again, you know, just a good way to kind of start the campaign off with, like, spooky place. You got possessed, like, immediately.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we did get
I
possessed.
almost didn't make it out.
Yeah, two of you guys got possessed by children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you almost die if you would have failed that last roll?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me a lot of chances. So.
Yeah.
Well, we already had
That's
one
for sure.
character death. I wanted to be a
You
little
were like,
lenient,
okay, I don't.
but you definitely would not have made him.
If I were
that
to
last
recall,
one.
we were trying to just get outdoors, but didn't you start just breaking through walls at that point?
Yeah, jumping through blades, breaking through walls. She got
My butt
stuck.
got
Yeah.
stuck.
Got stuck
Trying
in
to
a
crawl
couple.
through. Yeah.
But that should have set the tone for us immediately that don't fight everything, run. Because
would've been-
that was like this was
Yeah.
run the campaign. Like
Yeah,
Just-
that
Run.
was definitely good advice for later that I know I didn't take.
Yeah, I don't think any of us really did.
We're bad at that.
What stood out to you guys about the whole campaign? Like, was there a favorite moment or like a favorite area or?
I don't know if it's because it was the turning point or if because I liked most of the stuff there, but Kresk was probably my favorite place because a major moment, like the whole point of everything was there.
Mm-hmm.
2, I actually liked the Abbey and the creepy monsters, and that was another one of those things that I'm like, this is what I'm looking for with horror. I feel like it says it's a horror campaign, but it's more like you have to pick between your food and rent horror, not like spooky scary skeletons and things coming out, so that was more on the horror end again because we got Vasilka and stuff like that, and that was really neat.
Yeah, I thought, like you said, with Kresk, I think that was probably, even out of character, I think that's where we really embraced what the world actually was and not what we wanted it to be, where it's like, our other campaigns, were very lighthearted, and not to say we didn't make it lighthearted, but, it was like bad thing after bad thing after bad thing. Again, just in-game, like, it was fine, but I think after that we realized, like, okay, like, now we're actually in the world, and let's try to, like, be there instead of trying to get out.
Yeah, we like accepted our fate, kind of like, okay, this isn't like fun and games like Death House, like this is serious. Like, what are we supposed to do here?
Right.
it really was the hard turning point of the entire campaign.
And when your character actually died, or we thought died at the time. We're like, all right, now let's do that revive. Hello?
Yeah,
well, yeah.
Wake it up!
Well, because I was taken away.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, there
So we
was
couldn't-
no option. Like, it was basically Ramon and Calliope, you were gone, and it was like, are they gonna fight? Probably not, because it just
It's a losing
was in a
battle.
second. Like,
Yeah, and I think that's what really kind of set in Calliope's like existential crisis.
which was a major turning point, was Calliope's
Yeah,
speech.
because she's, you know, a charlatan the whole time. Like she was very used to like just being able to manipulate the world around her and everything like that, and she's already like been transported and stuck in this world, and it's like, okay, well, I'll just do the same thing here. And at that point it's like, I really have no power here. Like I can't do the same things. I have to really pivot. Like this sucks.
Yeah, I feel the same with Nephilim, and where I was like, okay, well, it all made more sense this way, and I'm happier the way it went than if I would have lived. Because at least it was like, okay, well, I didn't listen to Strahd, and now there's a whole other story.
Yeah, which was very interesting, and that's one of the things I really loved about this campaign is that like big tragedy led to us being able to do this cool like subplot.
Yes,
with these
that was
other
the coolest
characters.
thing. I feel like nobody else's Curse of Strahd is going to have like vampire werewolf side plot.
Yeah, which was like so fun. All of the characters that
And
we played.
super nice that I got to keep my character and play my character and save my character.
And mine's still in the trash monster's mouth somewhere.
But there's a dog named after him.
Yeah, so
which is even more
I
important.
named my gifted from the salesman Strahd, my gifted dog, Saxon, because why not?
It's a real house.
And for those that don't remember, we without seeing Strahd, like we know what Strahd looks like, but like when you're at a table just talking about it, like he really comes off as like car salesman kind of.
Our Strahd, I guess, but that's fine. It was great.
Kind of like a bumbling oaf in a way, like Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf-esque of Dracula.
And it's funny because like Eddie, he didn't play him. He played him like he would actually play Strahd. It's just like we just looked at it and like that's what we wanted it to be, and that's what it was. Like,
Well, I feel like it goes hand in hand in Strahd's actual backstory, which, on a different note, I don't really think Curse of Strahd is as well written as some people think it is, because Strahd's a little, like, whiny baby when you read his entire thing about
that's
like, why he's
everyone's
doing
take.
everything.
Everybody takes that away from it.
It's
He's
like,
just a
okay,
giant incel.
So yeah, for him being this like bumbling car salesman actually kind of suits him in a way, based off of his backstory.
Yeah, he's a little cringy, a little bit.
Yeah. Ugh.
One of my favorite fights was the Isaac fight.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was interesting.
That was cool.
the
That
like
was
Terminator style fight.
Yes,
Yeah.
Coming
because we were
through the
trying
wall.
to run the whole time.
And then the
which
outcome
was
in the
interesting.
end with Ramon and the finishing blow.
Mm.
Well, you had to keep Fuchs innocent, so.
Look away, Fuchs.
Which, when you really think about it, Ramon, who's like, you know, the kind of like charming, like happy-go-lucky guy in paper, you had like the most dramatic moments of the whole campaign, like over
absolutely,
and over.
Yeah.
Like you had this real backstory out of all of us. Like we're all just like here, God knows doing what, and you had this like family.
Yeah, well, that's all his doing, because I was just like, you know, this is kind of my idea, and he's like, bam, let's make your wife Vistani. And I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing.
That was
Like,
super smart.
Really clever.
I had
Yeah, it
no
was
idea
very
how that
cool.
was going to go over.
Well, it adds to the fact that, like, he didn't even realize what he was doing at first, like, when he played the lute and it was, like, a dancing girl that was a skeleton, but that he wanted to see his daughter and couldn't even see that there. So it was, like, these extra heartfelt moments that, like, you don't even realize are happening yet until you get to the end of the campaign. You're like, oh my god.
And then the poor guy can't even buy anything because he doesn't have a straw buck.
Straw bucks.
Well, that was the wave of insanity. It was just like cocky Ramon at the beginning, where it's just like, no, I'm so cool. Then it's just like existential crisis.
Roller coaster.
And then once everything kind of gets on track and we we know our characters and what they're going to be doing or how they're going to interact with each other. It just ironed out so nicely.
Yeah.
Everybody. Just
Sorn coming in and you guys in character explaining the world to somebody else, I think really helped you guys find your place.
That
Major
was
turning
a
point.
hard part too, because I had to pretend I didn't know everything, and I was like, guys, you never told me. Like,
And you were taking like some of the best notes.
I
and
know,
you're like,
and-
hey guys, remember?
I'm like, I don't know that you guys had a tarot card reading. I don't know all this stuff, and then you guys are just like already broken people, and you're like, oh yeah, this place sucks, and yeah, that's normal. And I was just like, okay.
And that's where like I was able to have fun with it because like using my character's like idiocy at that moment, like I was able to like convince you that Calliope was a super important person for like a minute.
that was one of the best things. Was like mafia boss.
Right.
Yes, and I was like, oh, definitely, I can totally see that.
you
Like,
can
these
see
guys
that
are
for
strong.
sure,
They
sure.
listen to her. Like, that makes sense, right? No, it was fun coming in the middle of a campaign, honestly, because
Yeah.
it was like, okay, now I gotta forget everything we just did.
Yeah.
And the dynamic of Sorn and Fuchs being together
Oh my god.
for
no,
probably
it
some of the most potentially deadly moments in the campaign.
We just walked into
Sitting
a
down.
hag's house, just like, whatever.
Like, what's up?
I ended up helping Fuchs pick his teeth up off the ground. Like, I
all
don't know how
32.
he, yes!
There's 32.
I'm like, okay, like,
Oh my god.
Well, I think that's what like really makes the characters fun. So like when we had our moments, it's like I'm gonna go in blindly and do something stupid, and you're like, I guess I'm gonna come help you.
I guess
But
I'm gonna
then-
try to make sure you don't die.
He must know what he's doing. He works for Calliope.
So we're not smart. So
But then it's interesting because like when you actually look at like interactions between other characters, when Calliope and I think it was Nephali at the time with the Dimension Door, we had that potentially big
That was
Strahd
us.
fight.
that was sort
It
of.
was some okay, yeah.
Yep.
But we had that potentially big like Strahd fight coming up with all these like I don't know like
The druid.
Druids
Druids
on
and
the hill.
berserkers.
And you know you were able to use like actual strategy there because you guys actually talked about it like normal people.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
But we shared a brain cell. Like, it was like, that's how it works.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, like, we can strategize a little bit. We're a mess.
Oh, yeah,
And what I loved about that too, with that whole thing, was him switching between you guys in the hag house and then me and Ramon like across the river. And
Oh my
he's in
God.
bird form too, so it's just me talking to this woman, and it's like you guys are sitting down talking to the hag, and then switch to us. Oh yeah, don't go over there. There's a hag.
And we're like, oh, there's a seat and the floor opened up.
Right.
What do we do?
I'll have some more tea, thank you.
Tell me more about
Don't
this
take
baby.
tea. No, don't do that. Just everything you guys just did. Yeah, don't do that.
I was so terrified of that place.
And I think that just led to the one thing we kind of finally learned, but not until after, is like we should have ran
Yeah.
and we tried to do what we always do and fight our way out of it, and it just was like almost a terrible disaster.
And that's what I think was interesting too, because I was looking back over my notes, and it was like back to back. We had that cool like dimension door, you know, like save the day kind of moment. Like this big battle we were able to avoid, and it's like, okay, yeah, we like really got
We're
this.
awesome. We're so cool.
And then immediately next, it's like we go to see that hag, and I'm
It's a
like,
disaster.
I don't know, nobody's going, so Calliope's gonna go towards the house. It gets tracked by the house and almost dies. And then we get captured by wolves, and it's like, oh my god, this is the worst thing. And it's like we were always supposed to get captured, you know?
Or run away.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
but we
when-
definitely panicked.
When you guys went to that location, I was scared. And then when two people walked into the house, and then the other two went far away, so now the party's separated.
You were like,
And
oh
this
my God.
isn't just a hag. This is Baba Lysaga, like the mother of all hags. She's one of the most powerful creatures in the entire game.
Yeah.
Uh,
And we were like,
I was like, I need a scenario to where they can get to a place they need to be and not die all of them here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the house also does like 30 damage just at the lowest.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys were just dead.
Yeah.
I was like, I
don't
need
know
them
how
to
we
leave.
survived.
Like,
well, and
By
then
the
of course
skin of our
we're like, well, this is bullshit. Like,
yeah.
what the hell happened here? Because it all happened like fast, and everything was like a blur of. Wait, those were supposed to be our friend wolves for some And it just like it went crazy. So I think we learned a little bit about ourselves and our table in those moments.
It's okay to walk away from a fight.
You know,
always come back later.
Yeah, that was. If we had to say like the most down or frustrating moment was probably that for everybody because we were all
and we had just come off of such a high.
Yes,
so it's like it was that
we were ready to be heroes finally.
Yeah. We were like, okay, we finally found our footing. Whoops.
Yes, I think that's what compounded it. Like you said, we finally felt like okay, we're getting into this campaign. We did it. We're doing good. Just kidding.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, kept it interesting for sure.
Definitely. How did you guys, well, you're asking
Well,
questions, but how did you guys all feel about your characters?
Well, like I said, my first character, I was like, I can't do anything with this. So I'm really glad I got the opportunity for a second one. And, initially I didn't have him plan on being, like, I didn't want to make him, like, stupid for the sake of stupid. Like, I just wanted to, like, be really naive. Like, this is his first adventure, and I'm going to go all out on somebody actually doing that. Not just like, this is my first adventure, but I'm still a badass because I'm playing D&D, and that's what you're supposed to do. It's like, this is my first adventure, and like, I've seen somebody throw a punch in the street once. I'm like, I'm a badass now, or at least that's what I think. So I ran with that, and then to a point where like, sometimes I just wanted to like see what would happen, so I kind of made him like dumber than he was. And at some point, I'm like, all right, how do I explain this logically? Because, like, now I'm just an idiot. So I sort of kind of retconned it because I did get beat up a lot.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
absolutely.
What if he's just got, like, the worst concussion ever? And it's like, all right, well, how and when? And, like, thinking about how we play, it's like, we fight and we loot. So how do I use that? It's like,
he was
okay.
walking through the fog and hit his head on a tree.
Pretty much.
Simple. And it's like,
just immediately.
Like, I get hurt.
Running from the wolves.
Yeah, I get hurt. Everybody's kind of like looting things. I'm like, all right, I can like retcon that and use that. It's like I've just been hurt this whole time to a point where like at one point I snapped out of it. I'm like the most normal person ever.
That was so weird.
Yeah.
By the way, but in a good way. I was just like, who am I traveling with right now? Like I literally felt like there's a stranger in our party.
Yeah.
But it was when we needed you most.
Yes, it was perfect timing.
It's like at that point I'm like, vampires are real. Like I'm ready to kick some ass. Like let's do this.
That was hilarious.
And then it's just like, like I love who the character was too. So it's like, what do I do with that in the end? It's just like, all right, guys, I'm gonna go do the thing I thought I was overdoing, and you guys are like, oh, he's broken again. He's just broken again.
I liked it.
That's when we were doing that. We split up in the tower, and you guys were doing your thing, and I was just fishing or whatever, and you were talking about the trail of bodies
that's one of my favorite conversations. He's like, I think I killed a lot of people. I don't know how to explain.
But then you're suspecting me, and I had no idea like how to deal with that moment. So I remembered I had the fishing gear, and you had brought up the fishing boat thing. And I was just like, maybe when this is all over, we could go fishing.
Yeah, right.
And then it was just like, this is fishing.
Like I'm gonna end up dead in the water.
Oh my god.
And yeah, I just like concluded my story with like, I'm gonna take the most random thing we saw in the storyline, like, and that was that guy who was like shackled up, the shoemaker. And he's my best friend.
You were obsessed with him.
But now he's my best friend because I'm hurt. I'm just like crazy. Like,
I love it.
And
that was a fun, and I like that.
Yeah, that was definitely a good end. Yeah, for me, I enjoyed being Calliope. It was
10 out of 10 character.
It was very different from the other characters I've played, so like kind of having to be bubbly most of the time was like a little weird, but it was all in the spirit of manipulation, so it worked. But overall, I really enjoyed being her. I thought she had like kind of an interesting storyline that played out. And I think deep down, she did grow with all of the characters, and she genuinely did like everybody. But at the end of the day, like, Calliope is a one-track mind. I'm gonna write the greatest story ever told, and it doesn't include me turning into a turtle. It includes me getting the Sun Sword and saving the day, because somebody needs to do that, So I knew I think it was like more towards the end of the campaign when I was kind of updating storylines with everybody. Like, yeah, so how, this is, you have the love interest. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then as soon as I got the Sun Sword, it was like, oh, I'm writing whatever I want to write. Like, this is
that's what it happened.
And like, you should have seen it coming because it's like 1 second you're the main character and then you're the main character and then I'm the main character. It's like, okay, like that sounds cool on paper, but when you look at it, it's like you're changing so much that how is this actually going to get written?
Because at the end of the day, she doesn't want to get her hands dirty because she's needs to write,
The fact that you only killed one thing makes it even better.
Yeah, you're the main character. You should go fight that guy. You're gonna save all of us. Go ahead, go.
In real life, because I didn't expect how the book was written. Like, I was like, okay, I'm sure she's gonna take some and add some stories or embellish things. She was like, you guys are not anything that you were. I am the hero. And like, I was just like, oh my god, this is probably the most epic ending ever.
Yeah, it was so fun to do.
Totally worth it.
I loved it.
I was suspect that you're on some sort of bullshit
So was Ramon though.
early on because we were the only survivors really of the start of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what conversations we had, you always kind of misguided it as if no. And I was like, you won't tell me anything.
We tried
You
so
won't
hard.
show me anything.
And I don't even
was
know
like,
how she did it. She was just
so
like...
at some point...
And
like,
what
I just
about you, though?
accept-
What about your problems? Why don't you tell me?
It's like, I'm just a story writer. I
was
want
like,
to know
she's
about you.
100% a charlatan and lying to all.
It was the
So
best.
I knew.
It was the
knew.
best.
I didn't suspect it.
Nobody... Well, you were the closest, probably, but it was...
Yeah, I could tell
amazing.
that Ramon was like,
But I don't think Ramon cared. He was just like, whatever.
And I really loved at the end too. Like, I was not gonna tell anybody any information that they didn't need to know. Like, you guys had already said, you asked me questions, I'm not telling you anything. But then I get the sword, and the sword's talking to me. And you guys are like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Like, what do you
While you're like
just
whispering in the
gaslight
corner.
all of you.
Yeah, I know.
But in hindsight, she did save, like, quite a few people. The children, the,
Oh yeah, that was on Calliope too. Irina a ton of
Irina.
times.
You need me to leave the battlefield? Yes. I will save them.
Absolutely.
I'll get them to safety. Sure.
I'm flying now. I'm flying again. Like, I'm
Wait,
above
wait.
everybody.
which completely justifies her being the hero.
Okay. No, I'm kidding.
I'm glad somebody sees them that way.
I still think Soren has some words.
I mean, you left
yeah.
Irene on a roof, but
Yeah,
She's
because
a
I didn't
safest
actually care.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cares. And I knew Soren was gonna be not happy.
The most upset about the ending was definitely Soren. Like,
Just
are you fucking
in one ear and
serious?
out the other. Nope, that's your love interest now. Like, it's just
It's
what
like
it is.
this person of all people, you could have picked anybody else. Are you fucking kidding me?
I just, like Fuchs' character, I just had to merge him. Like,
Yeah, it was two
there's just too
different
many
people.
characters.
And at least Ramon got the sidekick,
Mhm.
I got the worst. I got shafted in all my characters. It's okay. I loved it so much.
Yeah, it was fun to play that. But that's the thing, is it's so fun to play a character like that off of the characters that you guys brought to the table, because that's like what
That
made it so
matters,
funny.
too.
That's what made it work.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just like, yeah, like with characters like outside of Ramon, when you played David.
Yes. Oh my
I
god.
love David.
That
I was like,
was
how
so
was
great.
I friends with this guy?
I've never.
That's what I'm thinking.
There has to be-
David was probably one of my favorite parts of the entire game.
With how short those side characters were,
Right.
they left like the biggest impact.
Yes,
Like,
they did.
like I don't think there's.
I
any-
love Carlin too. Like, how did you just pull that out of nowhere?
Like, there's got to be no D&D group out there that takes a character like David, who just didn't have a cart to drive and has an existential crisis.
Right.
And like, you sold it. Like, even just sitting there, like, I wish the camera could be on your face, because
Right.
like, you just sold those looks.
You did.
He was so
You did.
upset. Well, and these were just the three like pre-written characters
Right.
Yeah.
that he gave us just to make sure we didn't die in Death House.
I literally thought we were just never going to see David again. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
Alejandro died immediately, and then
Yeah.
David got like captured by Strahd. That's over with. Those
Uh-huh.
characters are gone. Oh, he's coming back. I'm like, I gotta play this character, and then the way that it is versus the way I'm told that it's supposed to be.
It was a mess.
So I was just like, you know what? He's gonna be an idiot, and he's gonna have literally nothing to grab onto.
I mean, he was friends with Nephilim, so I guess that makes sense.
They were a good team together.
Wouldn't she have picked just a naive idiot?
Yes, absolutely.
So it's like-
Who is at least good enough to get the job done.
Mhm.
So it made sense. I feel like Nephilim wasn't meant for the campaign. And I realized that right away because Nephilim was created to get things out of people by convincing them that she was worth it. And everybody there was like, I'm not interested in anything. Like, you may be the most beautiful, gorgeous thing I've ever seen in my life, but I am trying to figure out how to save my family and eat. Yeah. And I was like, well, this is completely useless character at this point now. Because I was like, that's all I got. So I was like, well, shit. And then Nephilim was the type of character that I felt like played herself and I got taken away from her. Like, she just went, and that's how we ended up in a lot of problems. Yeah. Like, we ended up in some weird spots because I was like, I don't know why that happened. I don't know at all. Soren was out of nowhere because I was like, okay, this is a dark campaign. When's the next time I'm going to be able to play a drow and I don't have to worry about sunlight? And Hexblade Warlock sounds badass.
And it was.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So
Soren was awesome.
I was like, okay, I'm usually like leadery type, like smart characters. Soren's a meathead. So, but I originally was talking about playing the Dark Elves there because there were no girls left and having somebody hide who was a girl. And he was like, yeah, there's a lot of things about it that won't work like that. And I was like, okay, well, I'll do the same thing, but with a drow. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how Soren ended up that way. But I'm glad that I got to change Nephilim, like, in a way that she still has an ending. I can still, like, move on with things about her because she has a kid. So I can do that later. And then we got, like, the coolest side story out of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, you spent, like, the first half of the campaign trying to, like, find a suitor.
Yes, and I was like, this is impossible.
The game of matchmaking.
Somebody tried to, like, basically murder you to, like, get you, like, you know, to, like, pick up.
Oh, okay. Well, no, never mind. I don't want this.
Yeah. Well, Soren had all those good Mulan-esque moments where we were just messing with, you know what, why don't you try on the dress? Like, you're about to...
I was like, I am the only one that was the perfect size, too. And I was like, oh, shit.
Which worked out perfect.
It did.
It did.
Yeah.
So I got to have a little bit of fun with that. And although it didn't matter 100% in the end, it was fun to sort of work with, especially with these guys who were into being like buff dudes and stuff. So
that was so funny.
Yeah.
You guys just like flexing at each other.
I know.
And
I
we
was
just
like,
constantly compliment each other. And it's just like,
which is just the Simpsons moment of the Teamsters at home were like trying to out lazy each other.
right?
But we were just out flexing.
Yeah.
Just
I will say that Soren was not supposed to be awkward. She was supposed to be really badass, but I didn't know how to deal with him.
Yeah.
At all. I was like, I don't know how to be anything but awkward when he keeps looking at me and touching me. And I'm like, oh my god, now I'm just awkward.
And I think that works because,
it.
like, you're not like that, and like, your character has probably never been in those situations.
Yeah.
Right.
And then even you as playing the character are like, I actually don't know how to do it.
I was like, I don't know what to do when he keeps staring at me like that and trying to talk to me about things that I don't know what to do. Like,
that was so funny.
being Ramon was a ride. I just love the kind of brotherly thing going on with him and Fuchs the entire time, and just learning how to play a monk.
Which now I love monks. I thought,
really
like, so many people are like, monks, boo, and I'm like, how? He was awesome.
It was really just learning how important movement is, and now that I know that, like the game's completely different for me.
Yeah, it looked like we're so used to being casters. A lot of us. It's just like I'm 30 feet back. I got this. But yeah, like movement's super critical for this.
Just like
Well, and if you don't play it like a martial race either, because it's not like a fighter, and it's
you're
not like
strong. You can just kind of put out a decent amount of damage, but I mean, it was just a lot of fun running around the battlefield, making a miss, and like that was the strategy. Just the
or cleaning
strategy
up
of it.
what we did. That's how he
Yeah.
got a lot of kills. Wasn't necessarily that he output a lot of damage, but that we would put out damage and then he could move to everything and help.
Yeah, you were usually the one like right in front of the big bad, and
Yeah.
we're
Or
just,
surrounded
like,
by things that just couldn't hit you.
Yeah.
Try to hit me. I'm here to move and
Yep.
bob and
But yeah, you had the disadvantage,
Well, I
thing.
was so worried about key points,
and then you being a dancer,
I was
that
like-
just fit.
Yeah,
It did.
It did.
Why am I not using this?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
once I realized how powerful it was to actually just burn my key, because I get it back on short rest anyway, it changed everything.
Well, I think that's what nerve-wracking is. You have these like finite resources, and you're like, I can't burn them. I want to have them, but like if you don't burn them, why have them?
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
the point?
I think that's a video game thing
It
where
is,
you're like,
yeah.
I'm gonna save this elixir till the final boss. And you're like, but this isn't the final boss, and you don't use it when you're
Right.
supposed to. And we're supposed to just use our resources, you know. And you just keep getting in your head, I gotta save it all.
Right.
Your ending made me this like saddest that Ramon just sort of quit.
Yeah, but it all worked out. You know?
Honestly, Soren's the only one who's still an adventurer doing stuff out of all four.
Yeah,
So, and
yeah, I'm just
true.
doing book deals, book tours and stuff. So
Might be
I'm
on a
not-
farm doing farm things.
fishing, raising a daughter. I'm slaughtering like lost sworn people and on a crusade of sorts. So like
Somebody had to make it.
I know, and I was like, wow, okay, well maybe I have the scumbag character. I am a criminal, so
Yeah, but I did like how Ramon's story ended with
Yeah.
just fishing with his daughter. Like
Yeah.
it was just
Well, it was
all
part
he
of the like
wanted.
you spent all your time running around trying to save these people. You lost all that time, so now take the time.
See, so now is when I hit you guys with the alternate ending. Strahd comes back. Fog rises, Strahd comes back. In like 10 years or something.
No.
what?
But we killed him.
Yeah.
I know, that's just how it works.
He may or may not have been a vampire.
Well, that's a good
Yeah.
setup for a second version of Curse of Strahd that we
But-
might do.
Well, no, I was never going to do that, so that's why I was okay with
Did we
whatever
like
ending.
burn and salt the bones? Like
mean,
what did we do with
Yeah,
them
did we
after-
just walk out? Like we just okay, like see you.
We're like, yeah, that was probably good enough.
We're like, he's not here.
It's even written into the book. It's like, but a lot of people get mad about that ending because they're like, wait, so you go through this
Then
whole
why?
fucking campaign, and if you actually beat him, he just comes back.
Yeah.
I think that's my problem with
Fun.
the campaign
Lazy.
as written.
Lazy writing.
Yeah, I
Here's the
feel
keys I'm
like
giving.
as it's written, Curse of Strahd's lazy. And
No, it's good.
I don't know about that
It
because
is.
I feel like it's not. I don't know. There's so many things that could do better. We should have been walking through
Well,
graveyards
like-
where zombies were trying to like
The-
grab us and like spooky things. Like
Well, a lot of that
scary
comes
things.
on to me too, though. Like I could have incorporated more of that. In
Well,
certain
yeah, but
places,
as
like-
written, we're talking about as written. It's not that well written, especially if like I don't know what's the point then if he's gonna come back in 10 years.
I think that's what makes it interesting because you even said it was like kind of like a choose your own venture based off like the tarot cards. So like there's stuff we didn't do, and I wonder what those
Definitely.
could have looked
Right.
like. But even then, like just even going in character, it's like my character didn't believe in vampires, and we never saw any like up close.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Because we avoided all the
Like,
vampires
even
too,
Strahd,
except
like-
for Neville.
Right. At
That was the
point.
only time.
Right.
Yeah, we had a chance to see like at least 6 or 7 vampires and fight against them early on. After
We
you
avoided a
guys
lot.
like convinced that guy that his house was on fire, so we could get in.
Which was great.
Yeah,
And then
St.
I'm just
Andrew's
like-
bones.
Yeah, can you go get the bones for us? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, thanks.
And then
Bye.
Doru, the kid in the basement.
Yeah, which that was fun and spooky.
Yes.
Us going down there and like, Oh my
Um,
god.
Well, I like
Yeah.
Deathly and Calliope together.
That was
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite Fuchs and Ramon.
Oh my
moments,
god.
Digging?
Period. No,
No,
not-
when we were
well, the digging initially because
The
that
digging
was
is so
when
funny.
the
When we were
ambiguousness of
split
Fuchs
up.
came in.
Of us complaining, like going down there trying to figure out what this vampire boy is, and then complaining about that trap door,
Yeah.
and then him worrying about his blanket with Irina,
Oh my
and we
God.
thought he was gonna tell on us, but he was just really concerned about his blanket.
But it was just the back and forth, like going from
At perfect
this
time.
serious moment, and then you're doing the Fuchs and Ramon, and like it's just us standing there, and I'm like, well, why don't you just ask for your blanket back? And he's just frustratedly staring at his blanket, and then
We're like, you have your son in the basement, and what are you feeding him? And you're like,
I thought you were gonna tell on them going in.
you're like, Father, I have a
And
question.
I have a question.
I have something.
Freeze. Bam. Back
Yeah.
to them. Back here. So I gave her my blanket, and I didn't say she could keep it. I was like,
Best.
you wonderful bastard.
Yeah, I like taking nothing and just making it something because why? Like that's what I had. That's what was given to me is a blanket. Like,
I love it. It's
But
so
but
funny.
even at some point, like I was frustrated about like the NPCs at the time, and I would go off on these tangents with the NPCs, and that was one of those beautiful moments. I was like, and you have his blanket, and why wouldn't you just give him his blanket back? And you just be like, I don't need it.
Best moment like
yeah,
ever.
don't say it out loud. Don't say, you're gonna get us in trouble. Like not everybody's already trying to kill us, but like, don't get this guy mad.
Oh my
Oh, that
god.
was hysterical.
But I mean, I enjoyed those moments with Ramon playing him. Was just when he would just kind of go on these long tangents of losing his mind a little bit. And just the frustration, but it was all like just this panic to get to the end.
Right.
Yeah, because you really had something at stake.
Yeah.
So like
Right.
it made sense.
No,
Oh,
nobody's
why you
aware
would be
of
the
that.
most desperate.
Mhm.
Well, we're all just
Well,
like,
when he offered me a deal, like I was like, do I just do it? Like, because at some point, like it would have hit and came to a head where I would have been like, it's done. I have to do it now, otherwise it's gonna be too late. And I was actually gonna take the deal.
I think that's what I think super interesting about how you like
The
play
deals.
Strahd is like not that you just gave us deals because like as D&D players we're supposed to get these deals and be like we're the good guys like we're gonna take
Yeah.
these.
oh, we thought.
You gave us excellent deals,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
I think you were even saying that like if you would have like sweetened it just a little bit, she would have taken it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was considering.
I thought
it.
about
like
it.
what else did I have?
I thought hard, and Soren was the one at the very end who rethought everything the most too, because it was
Mhm.
like,
Like you didn't lay on enough charm early on with Strahd.
Right.
To wet Ramon's whistle for.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I
was
didn't
like,
want you guys to take
the,
them.
Of course.
the revenge
Yeah.
But I wanted
aspect
them
was
to-
so strong.
Feel appetizing.
Did you have
They were good.
anything in your mind in case somebody took a deal?
what if somebody wanted to become Strahd?
Right.
Oh, I mean, then we would have just started going that direction. And I would have been working with them probably behind the scenes a little bit more, but
How would that have ended up if, like, would the characters had to have fought the other character then?
who knows?
That's a crazy idea.
Did you think any four of us would take that deal? Like in that.
Who did you think the most probably would have?
Well, now looking back at it, Calliope.
Yeah.
But I thought Ramon's deal was the best.
Yeah,
I could see
Definitely.
it was a really good.
Because he was going to basically own Barovia, and his daughter would have been perfectly healthy.
that. I mean,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And then if you guys killed Strahd, he would have just been the owner of all of Barovia.
If you were nicer to Nephilim, she might have been like vampire queen and been fine with it. But it was like,
That's
No.
a different timeline.
She slept.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. It's because you made me sleep outside. That was the moment. It happened. I was like, no.
Meanwhile, bug eating David was going okay.
He was like, this is great. I have a sack basically. This is wonderful.
And I really enjoyed playing David. I can't believe such a nothing character just happened.
Yeah, and we just like flipped the switch like that quick too. Like I.
All of you did. It was crazy
It was
on my
weird.
end to watch.
Yeah, you had like at least like all this history. You could
Yeah,
use, and
I
it's just,
already
like,
played this character.
Right.
And then, like, I think Michelle's was the craziest, going between Calliope, and then she knows nothing about this character, looks at the sheet, and Carlin just happens, and I was like,
with
Oh my god,
Joe
she's so
Grizzly.
serious.
with Joe Grizzly and David, like we had some sort of frame of reference.
Mm-hmm.
You had nothing to go.
Yeah.
by. And just being this like, it just reminded me of like Invader Zim when he's like trying to be serious. Like,
Yeah. It was so serious and so
So-
perfect, and I was like, it caught me off guard so hard. I was like, oh my god, who is this person?
Yeah,
I loved it.
because it seemed like such kind of like a one-dimensional character. I'm like, I'm just gonna lean into that.
Yeah, it was awesome. I really liked that.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I like Carlin had the counterpart wolf of Joe Grizzly,
Yes.
so it's like it's not like there's much character development because you're always in the bathroom, so there's no one to talk to.
Which I only did because it's like I know this character like because
Well,
at that
it's
point
the one
Saxon
thing.
died, my character died. So before like Fuchs even really got there, it's like I had this other side character like let me just be him so I can lead him because he's alive. And it's like, all right, what do I do with this guy? Like, do I follow him around until he's dead and control two characters? I'll just send him to a bathroom because I thought it was funny. And then it's like,
It became a
and then he
thing.
comes back and it's like, okay, like now he's just gonna be in the bathroom all the time to the point where at the end fight he didn't even travel with the group. He just basically like teleported to a bathroom and popped out.
Yes.
Like
as the castle was crumbling around him, he
He's
walked
just
out
like-
of the bathroom.
it flushes, he pops out with like, what's up?
Which was probably the cheese offered to him from David
Yeah,
earlier on in the
right.
campaign.
Yeah, don't eat the cheese and brew
Yeah.
it.
You left him in one bathroom all the way across town and
No, like,
found him in another.
but like literally, my headcanon is that they're like teleports for him. Like he can pop out of any bathroom at any time. And like 3 campaigns from now, you'll see.
There's just a joke.
Once you forget about it, that's when I'm gonna bring it back.
Yeah.
Joe Grizzly.
I do want to mention that Nephilim died 3 times altogether.
Was it 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
She originally died from Strahd. You had
Yeah.
to kill her to make her not a vampire, and then she died.
Oh
at the
yeah,
end.
okay, not a vampire thing. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Which I think that's Ramon was
Did.
like a super close character for my Nephilim because he was definitely like super nice to her even if he shouldn't have been.
Trying to see the good, yes.
Right. So that was really nice. But yeah, 3 times she died.
Dang.
And looking things up, isn't there something about Horatio where like the people he cares about die?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
So that's in there
So now
because
we
I
know
was
how
most
like,
of his
feels.
family. It's been
because I was like,
Don
okay,
Minton.
well I put her with this guy. What is he actually like? And that's what it says, and I'm like, well, we definitely could have done something with it. She died 3 times, so I guess his curse is over with that, you know. So it kind of worked out, I think,
Yeah.
in a good way.
And I think it was just good writing, bringing like an old character back and then mixing it with
Yes.
somebody that actually has that like book he wrote and like
Yes.
doing that. That's
I
like,
loved that.
that's just like great, like DM. Like you really pay attention to the world and what we've done.
Well, I just wanted to keep our campaigns alive too.
Yeah,
Well,
and I like that. Like
That's the best.
you, like we get thrown in there just enough not to overdo it, but it's
Right.
like it works when it hits.
like
Like,
we
hits
know
well.
who this is.
Well, that brings me to you doing that. If Ramon would have died at all in the campaign, then Theron was going to be trying to find Horatio.
Oh, that's cool as shit.
Yeah, that was going
that's
to be
cool.
my character coming in as Theron again, and then
That
because
would've
there's
been
been
real
like
Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Any final thoughts? Would you guys want to do Strahd again? Do you guys like short campaigns or longer campaigns? As far as playing a character?
Long was good in that it wasn't too long. It's not like some people who play it for years. I don't think our table is really into that because we like to try things.
Yeah, we you know, your characters really can only do so much. I think to keep them fresh. You know, obviously we can get to like level 20 and have all this stuff, but like to actually role play it, like I think it was a good length.
21, right?
Yeah,
21 weeks. Yeah. And like besides like some of the setbacks we had of like learning the world, like I really like, you know, moving. If we're gonna be in one place for a long time, moving around a lot like we did was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, I don't know if I'd change much about it. I mean, maybe just more, you know, like shop stuff because we are procurers, I guess.
Yeah.
I think a
But
remix
I don't think we
would
even
be
need that.
interesting.
Yeah, remix would be fun, especially
Yeah.
because this one we had like 4 big things we didn't even do.
Right. So
Oh yeah,
we
yeah.
have
The
those
cards,
available.
the tarot card, the reading would be very different.
I'm interested in somebody else's version of Strahd. I'm interested now that we kind of know what the world is like, what kind of characters we would build for it. So
yeah, I don't like how my biggest problem with the campaign, I think, as written is the NPCs don't want to do anything for you.
Yeah.
So like you have to go in and like pry their teeth out to get
Mhm.
anything, and even when you do that, they're kind of like, nah. And it's like,
Well, a lot of them don't even know anything. Like, they only know some of the small histories of what's happened around their town. So, like, a lot of the things you guys are trying to get from them, they just don't have.
Yeah, and that's definitely not like a fault of anybody's. Like it's just how it is. But yeah, it's like when you're trying to like persuade or figure out stuff by just role play, like they can't give you anything.
Well, right, and it sucks. Like,
Yeah, sometimes it's just a bad roll. And,
Yeah, that too.
But I think that's where
but
playing
like with these guys, it wasn't a bad role. It's just they suck.
But I think that's where the long campaign benefited because like by the halfway point, we made all these allies, and then
Yeah.
things started to really flow. And I think that's why
Which
it
was
kicked
a
in.
positive. I'd say some of the positive things you did was let us have an army,
Mhm.
yeah.
which was really fun.
that was really cool.
Well, I
Definitely.
mean, wouldn't everybody kind of want this curse to be
Right,
broken
yeah.
anyway? So to build an
makes sense.
army to go against was.
Well, they've all been living there for so long under this. They're all just terrified. It's basically North Korea.
Right.
And they had tried once before and failed with the
The March of the Dead,
yeah.
Mhm.
which they get to see that every day in Barovia.
Right.
What a terrible.
Yeah, so giving us the opportunity to actually recruit all these people, and then like
That
when we
was
actually
fun.
marched on the castle, like it actually was like an event. Like we
Right.
had all these
That
people.
felt fun.
Everybody had
Yeah.
to get in their own ways and everything. Even when we came out, like they're still like knocking out like everybody around us. Like it was
Yeah,
just,
that was
it
cool.
felt like an actual like invasion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It felt like it mattered, and it wasn't just. All right, the four of us sneak in and we took out the biggest, baddest guy that nobody in the whole land could defeat. Like, no, we actually did the work to get to that to
Right.
mean
Yeah.
something.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if I would play it again, I would like to have spent more time in Castle Ravenloft.
Oh yes.
Oh,
In
yeah.
a different
Yeah.
version to actually like spend time there.
Yeah, I did really like that about a long campaign though, is that build up. So
Mhm.
like even spending more time there, I wouldn't have been upset with.
Right.
You know? Cause I too, like I'm waiting for the day where we get to like level 20. Like we've been
Yeah.
playing one for so long, you know, and now like we are the community. But with like shorter campaigns too, I think that's what I really liked about the Strahd campaign is that we had that like subplot with those characters.
Mhm.
So we got to play these like really cool characters for a long time and do a lot of character development. But then like throwing in kind of mini sessions where we're like a different character really quick.
It's,
It's
like,
like a nice
refreshing.
break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I kind of liked the combo that we had.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think you did a lot of really interesting, fun things. I really liked your Blinsky. I like that you
Yeah.
changed that until like you made this like disgusting, horrible toy for him, and it was perfect. I like that the birds just stole everybody's like clothes.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I was
Hilarious.
like, no.
We were like, I guess it totally
Because
makes sense.
We
though.
did give them very specific instructions,
That's
and they're
right.
birds, so
Right.
they just did what birds would do. in
I didn't
that
know how the
scenario.
reactions would be to that.
Oh,
I was
it
just like,
was
that'd be
that-
funny.
It was
That'd
totally
be
was.
funny.
It was hilarious. I loved it.
Or even like just like when the tower came down and like you kind of rolled for all the enemies and like the like debris everywhere. Like that was like really unique.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because there was going to be way too many bad guys. I was like, maybe they'll go with this idea. And then he jumped on the card. I was like, perfect. We're blowing this shit up.
Well, versus
You
those.
touched the card.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, of course. Well, versus those moments where, as a DM, you don't know what people are going to spend a lot of time on, and one was that final cart where he was like, "No, you guys can just go past the Vistani. Like, Horatio's just going to like roll the cart there," and we're like, we have 18 different ways to do this, and we're going to start at one and describe them all and figure out how to get through." And he's like, "I'm literally," I felt like he was to the point that he was going to be like, "Oh, look, they walked away," like, because we were just like, "No, we're going to do this now." So it's just like, why are you guys spending so much time on that? That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Overall, I think I had a lot of fun. I loved our characters. I
Yeah.
Yes.
think I'll remember them for like
It was
ever.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Had a great time in Barovia. All things
We got
considered.
postcards, you know?
We did.
Yeah, those are really cool. The whole set comes with a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah, I really liked that tarot card like
Mhm.
idea that they brought to it. Like all the extra stuff that kind of came with the campaign, I
Mhm.
think was like really cool too.
Yeah. I just wish you guys didn't pull the little girl for the first thing. We had to immediately change the tarot card read.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
But you guys got the werewolf, so that was cool.
Yeah.
That was way cooler.
And I think that's what would make it interesting is, like you said, you know, doing this another time. There's so many things that we didn't even get to, things we never went back to, and then like those cards make everything different.
Mhm.
So it would be interesting to see someone run it again and what we can do with it.
Or even just picking the things we didn't do as those answers and making it a whole different thing. I mean, there's
come back.
there's so many options because it's so very sandboxy. So.
And there's no reason the hag can like take over the town and then like, you know, we have to
yeah.
call in each other. It's like, do it again.
She's back. I need you. I need you to come. That'd be so funny. It'd be like a weird It version. Like 7 years later.
Now we got a real horror
Baba's
campaign.
back.
I'd play that. That
Yeah,
would be
definitely.
All right. Well, is that it then?
Yeah.
I guess.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. And thank you guys.
Thanks for watching.
Keep watching.
Start watching.
Right now.